Hey guys, here's a, what is it, 10, this is an 11-minute game against a player rated 644. This is actually rated, so this is a 0-16 situation for me. And I'm going to play the Ruy Lopez. This is an opening I never play, but because I'm playing somebody 800 points lower, it kind of makes sense. Okay, so he's brought his knight out looking at that pawn. There I can now push d3 if I wish to defend the pawn. Also opens up my bishop. I can capture this knight at any time as well, right now. Alright, so it looks like he wants to bring his knight down and attack, but I can simply castle straight away. Another thing I can do is actually develop my dark squared bishop and pin his knight to prevent those ideas. So that seems like a good idea. So now we've got both knights under attack by my bishops. Okay, knight is still pinned. Now if I capture this knight, it's the only defender of this pawn, which is a common motif in the Ruy Lopez. That seems to make sense. Black only has the one pawn out in the board right now. So let's say knight takes, he ought to take back with the d pawn, I think. If I take with my knight now, this knight's still pinned. He might push a pawn. Well, it depends if that pawn's there. Okay, so let's capture the knight. Ruy Lopez is an extremely classical opening. A lot of chess teachers do recommend for beginners to start with, because you will get into very classical situations. Right, so I've got options here. The knight's still pinned, not concerned about that. Bishop is looking at f2, not too concerned about that. I can castle, which would put two defenders onto that pawn, king and rook. So this bishop is actually quite well placed. His other bishop is also ready to come out into the board, so I'm kind of expecting this move at some point soon. However, if I capture the knight now, he can't play his bishop to there because I can take, and the knight can't recapture. So let's go ahead and do that. I don't know whether it's the best. Okay, now that's an error. And here's the reason why. As we've just said, the knight can capture here. The bishop appears to be defended by the the knight on f6. But should the knight move, the queen falls. So that's a problem. Just asked him if he wants to play 3 games. Okay. So he's moved his piece to a square where it's defended only by a pinned piece. That's the problem. Okay. So basic tactical miscalculation there. I think he's probably figuring this out now. Okay. Alright, so we have rook e8. I now have 2 attackers on here. If I capture, he can't really recapture with the queen because bishop takes queen. So he's going to have to recapture with the g pawn, and I like that idea. So I'm going to capture with my knight. Alright, now my bishop's under attack. So what do we do here? I like the fact that the g file is now semi-open. So I think I'm going to drop my bishop back to here. If we exchange bishops, that's good for me because, for one, I'm up in material, but also it means I can recapture with this pawn. Okay, that simply blunders a piece. But let's have a think. Let's not be too hasty. Now I can't bring my queen to here with check, but I can if the pawn should take. So let's have a think. I grab the free bishop, pawn takes, queen comes out to g4 with check. It's a safe square. The king will have to move. The only alternative is for the queen to block, and that's not playable. Okay, so let's think this through. Also, my bishop will be on c5, attacking that square. So I take the bishop. Let's say pawn takes. Queen here, check. King must move now to h8. Then my bishop can... No, it can't come back to here because that's guarded by the queen. But let's play that. Rook takes, that's no good. Okay, so now queen out to here. And there's only one move. So I don't think I have a winning option yet. I could recapture with the pawn when the king moves. That looks safe enough. And let's think it through again. Or I could simply castle. If I castle and he gets greedy and plays that, that is winning. Because the king will be in check and the king can't move because of the queen. And the only way to block the check would be to put the queen in the way. So I'm going to castle and try and tempt him into grabbing an extra pawn. In fact, even if the pawn moves, I think that's winning. It's defended by my bishop. Ah, nah, I didn't see that option. But there we go. Okay, decent idea. Well done for finding that. So what do we do now? I've got 5 minutes 52 left on the clock. My opponent's used less than 2 minutes, right? This goes back to the general point. Don't start an 11-minute game if you're going to try and wind it up in 3. Okay, so now I'm thinking I'd like to get my queen looking at this pawn, because then bishop can take the pawn if it's defended, which it isn't right now. It wouldn't be, with a fork on king and queen. So how do I do that? There's lots of squares I can go to. Which is best? I'm just going to drop back here. I'm not even concerned if he wants to go down here or take the pawn and then queen, because I've got rook on the back rank. Okay, good. He spotted that as well. Spotted that threat. So now if I take, he simply captures with the rook and nothing gained. Plus, my bishop is undefended. So I made the wrong move there. I should have put my queen here, right? But my opponent missed it. He actually had queen takes bishop. So I could now just push c3. Or I could capture this pawn. That's also pretty safe. Let's capture the pawn. Ooh. Right. No, that was a mistake. That was a mistake on my part. Alright. So I'm up 2 right now. So, yeah, I moved my queen by accident. Yeah. Okay, game on. So now I'm proposing an exchange of queens. Okay, he's captured that pawn. I can defend everything if I move my knight. I think knight to c3 looks better than knight d2. Knight c3 reduces the queen's option, so let's go ahead and play that move. Now he's attacking my queen. My queen is the only defender of that knight and the only defender of that pawn as well. So, what to do? What's undefended on my opponent's side of the board? Those couple of pawns. So if I come here, for example, the knight's still defended. Okay, so right now I'm kind of up a knight, but down a pawn. So he has a free pawn. He's definitely playing a lot better now. Okay, you attack my queen again. That's not a problem. I'm just going to move here and have a look at this pawn, still defending the knight. Okay. And now his only move is to block with the rook, then I capture that rook. It's the only legal move on the board. You need to take more time over your moves, my friend. Okay, so now I can come back here with another check, and he has to, again, move his knight there, his rook there. You'd think I'd remember the difference between knights and rooks at this point, but nope. Okay, now a simple win could be something like that. Looks safe. Just need to check what can his queen can't take there because queen takes, rook can't take there because king takes. In fact, the rook's pinned so it can't move. So now rook to e8 would be checkmate because he can't block with his rook and his king has no squares. So although I made a mouse slip, looks like we've managed to rescue this one. Okay. I think that is still mate. Yeah, he's in check and he can't block. Oh! He's tricky, this guy. Oh no! But also he's in India, so he's a lot more awake than I am. Right. Okay, we are in a game on position again. Okay. Wow, okay. King to f1 just stops the queen from coming down there. Means I can put my rook here, maybe attack the queen. Really didn't think my way through that enough, did I? Okay, now his rook is unpinned. I'm inclined to play this move. Let's see where the queen decides to go. I'm still +2. So I have a 3-on-1 pawn majority on this side of the board. But I have a 4-on-1 pawn minority on the queen side. So he's found some good moves here. Okay, now I can force an exchange of queens and go into an ending. That's going to be interesting because of his big pawn majority on this side of the board. But I have an extra knight. Also, my rook might be able to quarantine his king onto that side. But I'm just not sure. Think maybe the right way to go. I need to be very careful about checkmate threats. Now he's got his rook pointed at my king. Maybe I should just play this. I'm inclined to bring my knight into the attack. Let's do an ending. I think that would be fun. Okay, I'm going to pre-move the recapture because it's pretty much forced. He's in check now. Okay. Right, now I'd love to get my rook onto the 7th rank. Okay, good move. So I'm going to drop back to, I think, my own 2nd rank so that my rook is now defending pawns. Defending pawns now becomes very, very important. Okay, centralize knight. I also want to centralize my king. But first let's shore up these pawns. Looks like I'm going to be facing a pawn storm down this side. Okay, but he can't bring his king into the fray yet. So now centralize the knight. Stops this pawn advancing. Might play my rook to here as well. Get 2 attackers. Well, that attacks that pawn and it still can't advance, alright. So now rook here, if he pushes I take for free. Okay, that's a free pawn. Pushes, takes. I have knight to c3 guarding this square. So I should be happy. Right, now, this is a critical point. I have a knight check. So let's say I check, 26 seconds. Okay, let's get a move on. Let's get a move on. I've just got to play really, really quick now. Because I can lose 16 points. And this guy's got 6 minutes left. Okay, I'm going to play rook here. And I'm going to capture the pawn, for sure. 22 seconds. Oh, unlucky. Okay, so he's walked into a king-rook fork. And now I can't pre-move the next move. I can't pre-move this capture because he might push the pawn to b2. Ooh. Okay, I just blundered, no, almost blundered my knight. Okay, I'm going to get my knight to safety. I'm going to put my rook here. I'm going to capture this pawn. 16 seconds left. Okay, let's come here. The pre-moves aren't working very well for me right now. So here, pawn, 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 pawn. Okay, no, there, 10 seconds. And I'm going to go for a rook and go for a standard ladder mate. Okay, let's just simplify this. Whew. With 7.7 seconds left on the clock, I think it's winning. Right then, good game, rematch. Let's do this. So I won my 0 points back. Okay, let's go standard again. We'll go classical and less of this. A bit more chessing. Okay, so standard king's pawn opening, and he's played the Roy Lopez. All right, I'm going to kick the bishop. Right, that hangs the pawn. Okay, but he's not captured, so what do we do? I want to defend my pawn. I think bishop to here does that job. So I'm going to play a bit more rapidly this time. Okay, let's pin the knight again. Might prompt him to kick, in which case I'll just retreat, prompt him to chase me away again. But this weakens the pawns around the king, yeah? Okay, I'm going to block that with tempo. Right. Okay, I'm thinking, need to improve my knight. But if I put my knight here, it doesn't have many prospects. It could go there. No, that's okay. That's okay. Knight's still pinned. Okay, we have a bishop chase on, but my bishop is not in too much danger. Okay, the king is on a dark square now, in line with my bishop. This guy's undefended. I want to castle long and go after that king. So I'm going to castle this way, get my rooks in the game, and bust a hole in him. Bishop's defended by my knight, so I could start pressing now, but let's get both rooks involved first on G and H, and then we'll throw pawns at the problem. Okay, now if I capture, he's got options. If I push, he takes, I take, bishop can take. How about if I push F5 now? F5 looks better. Opening up lines now, okay? So now bishop takes, and this is now, I've got a barrage against that, all right. There, rook can't take because it's defended, all right. Oh, that's not a bad move. So he's just defended that. But the bishop hangs. So now I can take, knight takes, queen takes, checkmate. Right, that's an attack. So he's attacking my rook. I do have this. So if I take, the king has to go here, right? How do I win? I could take with the bishop, Yeah, I'll take with the bishop. King can't capture. I'm going to let him grab the material of his choice here, because what I have now is a discovered check opportunity. So when I move my bishop, he's in check, and he has to move his king because there's nothing that can interpose onto that square, right? So if I move my bishop to here, I win his queen. Like so. Now, I'll probably grab my rook. I think my king's safe. Didn't bother to check. Okay, he's lost his queen. Okay, so let's grab the knight with... Now let's first cause problems. Let's check him. He might move on to that light square. He can't go here or here. Okay, that's not bad. Right, let's check again. Now this pawn's undefended. I can defend the pawn with that, or I can simply take the knight with check. Let's just take the knight. I'm up in material. Bigly. Okay, queen here is nice. You're very close to mate there, actually. I think he has to go here. And queen here. Queen here has to go there. Let's figure this out. I could just play my pawn up. Yeah, I think that's probably better. Rook can't take now, so I'm just opening up lines, and now queen here is checkmate. That's better. Well done. Good. Another good game. Right, game number 3. Still trying to hang on to my 16. Okay, I'm inclined to be naughty now. Let's go Danish Gambit. Danish Gambit, see what happens. Okay, now, if I push now, he can't play here. You have to remember this one, because c3 traps the knight. Bishop takes, see? Really common pattern, that. So whenever you move your knight out and there's a pawn that can come and hit it straight away, you've got to be very careful about that particular trap. Okay, so the knight's attacking my pawn. Let's again pin the knight to the queen. We're up in material. I'm going to trade off because I'm up in material. Right, now it's time to develop the knight. And I'm going to castle. Alright, yeah, it's just castle. So I have 2 knights and a bishop. He's got 2 bishops. So here again. Okay, I'm trading. I'm just trading. I'm simplifying. This is a really basic way to win chess games. Okay, knights are now paired together, so they've got each other's back. Oh, I hung my bishop. Ah, dear, dear, dear. It's getting carried away. Gabbing on about simplification. Okay, so he's taken that square away from my knight. Now we've got a situation, we've got 1 pair of deadlocked pawns. Okay, I'm going to go for a trick again here. Try and exchange rooks. Yeah. Then if I can, oh no, I need to persuade this bishop. No, it doesn't work. See, if the bishop stays on this diagonal, okay, I'm going to pair the knights again. If he trades off now, that's much better for me. Okay, kick you. The one imbalance that I have in my favour right now is he has doubled pawns on the b-file. That's it. So I'm going to kick this bishop and try and persuade him to trade off. 2 bishops, good. 2 bishops in the end of the game is really powerful. one bishop is far, far less powerful, right? So I would much rather have two bishops. So he's still guarding this square against my rook. Right, there's a hanging pawn. Okay, should I grab the pawn now? If I grab the pawn and he takes, this pawn hangs, but it's kind of equal. No, I'm just going to defend for now. And capture with the A pawn, I think. Need to defend this guy. Knight here is knight. Okay, so he's protecting, but he's missed his hanging pawn, which I'm happy about. Okay. Again. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to open things up a little. Okay, this pawn, and this bishop are all unprotected. So, now I can't really get to that square and hit both pawns with my knight, because to get there I've either got to go via here, right, which I can't because of the king, or here, which I can't because of that blasted pawn. However, is rook d5 playable? He can't defend it with his rook because my pawn's guarding that square, yeah? I'm also not worried about back rank because I have this. Oh, then he has that. But then I can defend with f4. Okay, let's go for that idea. If he plays rook a1, I've got this. That pins the knight. Okay, but now, ooh, now, you, Jayeshperiwal, are not done. That's a very, very clever move. Or is it? So, I can't move my knight, right? So let's say I take the pawn, he plays that, I play that, but my rook is still defending the knight, yeah? So I think we're okay. I'm gonna do this. Is he gonna play that now? Or is he gonna capture the knight? Either. Oh! Two attackers on the knight. Alright, let's defend it. Got two defenders now. Two attackers, two defenders. Life is good. Now what I want to do is put my knight there. Okay, so let's tempt him. Okay, first of all, check king safety, right? So knight here. I want to come here and fork king and rook. We've done that before. If I go knight here and he does this, I come here and attack the rook. Should be alright. I'm tempting him now to take this pawn for free. Apparently for free. Haha! Got to watch your back. Look. Now I win a rook. He's in check. Has to move out of check. Okay, resign. Great games. Thank you. Look out for video later today. Excellent. Okay, so I think that's a nice little pattern, I think, for it's almost like free lessons for beginners and sub 1000. So I think, yeah, set of 3 games. Look, if anyone wants to play three games with me, get onto chess.com, add me as a friend. When you see me online, first check whether I'm playing. Don't just keep bombarding me with challenges if I'm in a game, because I don't play 2 games at once. I haven't got enough brain power to do that. So if I'm playing a game, watch the game, and then you can actually add a comment if you're watching a game to say you want to play 3 games next, and we'll play like 3 10-minute games or something like that. That could be fun. So let's do that. Let's make this a thing. I think it's very useful. Someone's requested to see more live games and to see the thought process more in real time. So if you fancy that, if you want some, kind of free tutoring. I'll give advice, although you can't hear it during the games. And that's it. So let's do this. Thanks, guys. See you soon.